Hey, I'm Keith Bassett with Big House Custom Rods, and I'm here today to talk to you about some of the options you have when you call up a custom rod builder and ask him to build you a new rod. We get asked a lot of the same questions when people are calling asking about, hey, I want to get a rod built. Well, we want to know what kind of rod do you want, as far as what are you going to be doing with it, what are you going to be fishing for, what kind of lures do you plan to throw, and what kind of weight line are you going to be throwing on that rod? Do you like a short rod or do you like a long rod? Those are some of the important questions that we're going to ask, and we need you to know when you call us. So that's what I'm here to help you with today. There are several options when you go ordering a custom rod. Sky's the limit. Whatever you want, from thread color, do you want certain decal stickers, whatever. Whatever there is, we could put it on a rod and make it specifically yours. One of the common questions we get is, what is an exposed blank reel seat? Well, that's what we're going to talk about right now. If you can see these two different reel seats, one has got a hole cut in the bottom of it and the other one doesn't. Well, I'm going to grab this white blank here and I'm going to show you the advantages of that. So if I go with an exposed reel seat, right here you see this white on the bottom of the reel seat. That's my rod blank. Now what does that matter? Okay, if I'm fishing with a worm or a spinnerbait where I need to feel the blades turning, I want to have as close contact to this blank as I possibly can. How much closer can I get unless I'm actually touching it? So that's what the benefit to having an exposed blank is, so that you get the most sensitivity out of that rod. Now if you go with a traditional reel seat where there is no exposed blank, you see you don't see the white in here. So now I have to rely on my insert to transmit vibrations from the blank through the insert into the reel seat so that I can feel it. Or either I sit there and I hold on to the line, one of the two. So that's the benefit to having an exposed reel seat. And me personally, all my fishing, I want an exposed reel seat on that rod, because if my finger's down there on that blank, I want to feel it and I want to know when I get that lightest bite. And that's another benefit to having a custom rod built. There's a thing called a spline to a rod. That is how it naturally bends. As custom rod builders, we check for that spine and then we put the eyes on the spline depending on if it's casting or if it's a spinning reel, will depend on whether they go on top or on the bottom of the spline. That helps me get further casting distance, that helps me with sensitivity, that helps me keep rollover in the rod if I'm fighting a big fish. There's a lot of benefits to making sure that your rod is built on the spline as it's supposed to. Now, talking more about your options with a custom rod. All four of these are the same rod blank. They're MHX 812 spinnerbait blanks. I like fishing a lot of spinnerbaits. I have one tied on year round. Now, here you see I've got a white one, I've got a high mod MHX 812 blank, and then I have the regular MHX 812 blank, and then I have one that's a high mod that I've completed that I fish with. Now, what is the difference? Well, the white one, it allows you to see it better. So if you're slow rolling that spinnerbait, you can see that blade thumping at the end of your line, at the end of the tip. And let's say that you see that all of a sudden that blade stops thumping. Well, that could be a fish that you got on the end of your line. You've got to be able to feel those blades turning, and seeing them is another thing. So that white helps you see that. Now the high mod versus the regular MHX. It's made with a different kind of graphite, a higher modulus graphite. That's where they get the high mod from. But it's built to the same specs. Now here's one thing. It is a little bit lighter. So if you're throwing this rod all day long, those little bit of ounces can add up to be a nice relief in the weight department. The high mods are a little bit more expensive than the regular MHX ones, but they're also going to rival your high-end St. Croix and your high-end G Loomises, and they're going to be cheaper than built in the end than what you would pay for that production rod. And again, it's a custom rod, so it's going to be the way you want it done. Some of the other little knick-knack tricks that we can put to make that rod more specific to you is we can pull off the standard hood that comes with that standard reel seat, change it out for a different color one, such as this red one with the silver dimples, and now I've got a reel seat on my rod that's different than what your typical reel seat is. Another thing about having that reel seat a different color is so that you can quickly identify a specific rod for what you're looking for. You can do that with your thread colors too on your rods. Have a bunch of different thread colored rods, help you quickly identify, okay, is that a crankbait rod, is that a worm rod, is that a spinnerbait rod? Things like that make a difference when you're in the tournament fishing and you need to quickly identify that rod for a lure change. Another thing that you can do is trim rings, different colored trim rings. Now, you see I got this red trim ring here. If I'm building a rod and I want to add that in there, I can put it in front of my rear cork, in front of the cork here that comes off the back side of the handle, or I can put it in front of the reel seat. If we can put you a trim ring that's in between the cork and the reel seat also. If you've got cork on the front, you can put it in between the reel seat and the cork, as well as putting that colored winding cheek at the front of it too. It all makes that rod that much more yours. Another thing that we add to just about every single rod we build for people are hook savers. Now, why is a hook saver important? You never want to put your hook from your lure directly onto an eye of a rod. The reason is that hook could actually nick the lining of that eye, and then your line going through there could get nicked by that. In turn, you hook into a fish you could break off because you've weakened your line from a damaged eye. So always have a rod built that has a hook saver on it so that you can attach your lure down there on that hook saver to prevent any damage to your eyes of your rods. One of the advantages of going with a high modulus MHX blank, other than it is a little bit lighter, it is going to be more sensitive, see, it comes with a nice little trinket. You get a rod sock with it. Now, why is that rod sock important? It is important that you protect your investment. Now, if you've got a bass boat and you've got those rod tubes in there, you're headed down the lake, hitting through some waves, some little bit of rough water, whatever. Those rods are just sitting in there vibrating against that plastic tube. Well, that could end up causing a nick to your rod. So you get a nick in your rod, it weakens that rod. So that's why if you got it in a rod storage, use some kind of rod sock on that rod to protect it from any kind of nicks or anything. Anything that can weaken that rod makes it for a chance for that rod to break. These come with the high mod blanks if you get a rod built on a high mod blank, or they have the rod socks with the tags so you can identify what the rod is and put your name on it. And you can pick these up at Mud Hole also. If you decide that you want a rod built from a custom rod builder, go to Mud Hole's website. It's mudhole.com, and look through all their different options that they have for a rod to be built. I mean, we got endless options, from thread colors to kind of cork that you want to putting your favorite college team logo onto your rod. We can have custom decals made that has your name on it or any kind of little slogan you want on it. The options are endless. So the next time you get ready to have a rod built, go on to Mud Hole's website, get you a little idea of some of the little added on the features that you would like to have on your rod, and then call up your rod builder and let them know what you're looking for. Your local rod builder will be able to help you make a determination on a blank if you're not sure, but it makes things a lot easier if you already know exactly what you want for him to get that rod started and you get it quicker.